Welcome back to another episode of the Salisha Show. I'm your host, Salisha Thomas, and I am so pregnant right now. Oh my God. I am so pregnant. By the time you see this episode, I think I'll probably have baby boy in my arms. I will have met him. Which is so wild to think that I'm going to be a mom. But that's where we're at today. How are you doing? What are you grateful for today? Take a deep breath in with me. Exhale that. Breathe in again with me. I don't know where you are right now, what you're going through right now, if there's something you're excited about, or if you're coming through a storm right now in your life. But I just want to remind you to breathe and to be as much as you can in the moment. So many times, many things are happening around us, but most of my worries are in the future or bad memories from a past event. But usually in the present, everything is okay. Just going to throw that out there for somebody who might need that right now. That little reminder. Maybe there's a million things going on in your life, but how are you right now? Are you safe right now? I mean, I hope you are if you have time to listen to a podcast. Life might not be that awful in this moment, but who knows? Thank you for being here with me today. I want to share with you some of the worst auditions that I've ever had. And I've had so many bad ones. For reference, before we dive in, I have gotten to do 2 Broadway shows. I'm currently singing backup with Hugh Jackman at Radio City Music Hall. I've been a performer, a lead vocalist for Disneyland and California Adventures. I've gotten into the BFA program at my alma mater, Cal State Fullerton, out in California. Hello, Department of the Redundancy Department. I've had a career, and I've gotten to work a lot of smaller gigs too in between the big ones. With that said, I have had so many terrible auditions. And I just want to share a few with you. Let's see here. Where should we start? Well, this isn't like a terrible audition, but like before I landed my job at Disney, I auditioned for them 6 times and I got cut every time when I was auditioning to be one of the princesses, one of the face characters. I never got past that first round, and that really hurt my feelings. But when I was in college and I hadn't learned about like what is a person's type, like some people's types are like the popular girl, or like the fat chick, or like the mom, or the nerd, or like the hooker with a heart of gold, or like the best friend. Like there's like types, there's archetypes that we see on TV. And when you fit into a mold or a type, it's easier to be cast. We're moving into an age where boxes are going away and people don't want to be boxed in anymore. So that's kind of fun. But back in my day, you did fit into a box, and I didn't understand that. And I sang for every audition I went into. It did not matter if I was going in for the blackest of black shows. I would sing, "Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Why is my reflection someone I don't know?" I would sing the crap out of Reflection at every single audition. Hold on. My baby is kicking. You know, he used to not kick me when I was singing. Usually when I'm singing, he would chill out. And now when I'm on stage performing, he's like dancing while I'm singing. I'm like, babe, this is really hard. It's hard for me to do both. Once I'd actually worked for Disney, they called me in to play Jasmine in their Aladdin sit down at California Adventure. And so I went in to audition for that. And, you know, that part was kind of like a soprano, and I'm definitely an alto. And the audition was in my break. And so I just remember like singing through a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. But where it can sit in my voice now today, I couldn't do that back then. And it was so bad. It sounded more like, but when I tell us so and where to go. Like it was such a stark hole in my voice. And when I finished, the entire team on the other side of the table who all knew me, they all knew me. They were all just silent. And I knew I didn't do a good job. And so I said, after a moment of silence, I said, I'll let myself out. And they all laughed. And it was like such a tension release. It's like, it's okay, you guys. I'm really not a soprano. And it ended up being funny. But like, it was bad. When I was auditioning for schools, my Juilliard audition, spoilers, I did not get in. They told us, take as much time as you need. And I had just come out of high school. I did not go to a performing arts high school. I'd only seen what I'd seen in the movies. They said, take as much time as you need. And I was preparing to do my classical monologue. And I did the whole thing, like the whole face thing. And I stood there like an actor. And when I was ready for my classical monologue, I said, greens, and nothing but greens, parsley, peppers, cabbages and celery, asparagus and watercress and fiddlefrint and lettuce. He said, all right, but it wasn't quite because I caught him in the autumn of my garden one night. He was robbing me, raping me, rooting through my rutabaga, raiding my arugula and ripping up the rampion, my champion, my favorite. I should have laid a spell at him right there. I could have turned him into a dog or a chair or... And I continued to do the rest of the witch's rap from Into the Woods, a very contemporary musical. Like, oh my gosh. And the people behind the table, I don't know how they kept a straight face. Like, if I knew then what I know now, they were trying their best to not laugh in my face. My parents were outside of the door waiting for me, and they were like, how did it go? I was like, it's the best I ever done it. No callback, did not get in. But then I was like, well, that's okay. We still got Penn State. And so I forgot, what did they ask for? 2 contrasting songs. And I think I sang one of the only songs I knew at the time, which was Wouldn't It Be Loverly? All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Like, just the worst accent. They were like, do you have a contrasting song? And so I sang from The Little Mermaid. But I acted it out like in the cartoon movie. I said, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl? I'm now walking out of the camera to the window in the room. And the guy who's the monitor like looks up at me. He looks at the camera. Can probably see that I'm nowhere in the camera anymore. I'm like walking to the window. She's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos. Like literally I'm singing the song out the window. Not even in the frame of the camera where they were recording me anymore. I'm like, yeah, didn't get into that school either. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'd had a Broadway credit under my belt already, and I went in for Frozen on Broadway. For Elsa, right? Elsa? And I got to let it go, let it go, dun dun skies, let it go, let it go. Okay. I'm choking for real right now. But that is literally what happened in the audition. When I got to the end of the song, I'm changing the key right now. I was like, let the storm rage on. I completely cracked. Like, the song actually wasn't going horribly, but I got to that note and nothing came out. It was so bad. And I was like, I promise you guys, I can sing the note. And they said to me, we know you can. Thank you so much for coming in today. Dang. Because if you don't already know, that's code for we will never see you again for this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that happened. I think the moral of the story, though, is it's okay to have a bad audition. Or maybe you're not even in this industry. It's okay to have a bad day. Not everything is going to go perfectly your way and how you want it to unfold magically and perfectly. Like, sometimes we completely butcher the thing that we're supposed to do. Sometimes it doesn't go well. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's just bad. And I'm telling you today, that is okay, because it really just takes that one time to get it right. It only takes one time to nail it, to be in front of the right people, the right place, the right time. It only takes one yes to set you on the path that you've always been meant to be on. All you need is one yes. It's okay if you get 1,000 no's, 2,000 no's, or more. If you get door after door slammed in your face, your only job is to keep going and to not give up. When I first got to the city, I moved to New York City because I wasn't booking any more work in California. I had worked, but I had a really dry patch where I wasn't getting auditions or I wasn't getting callbacks. I'd been dropped down to one day at Disneyland, and there was some other stuff at play too. Like, I was experiencing heartbreak. I'd just broken up with my boyfriend and all these things. And I decided to move to New York City. And I had this little voice in my head saying, if you aren't getting work in California, what makes you think you're going to succeed in New York City? It's so much harder. There's so many more people out there. But my heart had always been out in New York. And so I'm like, I would be betraying my soul if I didn't give myself a shot, right? And so I came out to New York to visit. I didn't tell anybody that I was coming out here. And I just came out to visit for 30 days. I gave my shifts away at Disney quietly to my friend Candace Washington, who now lives here down the street from me. But this was over a decade ago. And I just felt the city. Every day I just got lost in the city. I'd get on the train and see where it took me. Sorry that I'm sitting like this. I'm so uncomfortable. This baby is really beating me up right now. And I just fell in love. I loved New York City so much. It's the first place that I've ever really felt like myself. And even though it's I'm on my feet all day and there's so many energies swirling around me from so many people, I have very little privacy here. But for some reason, I just felt more myself than I ever had, ever. And there was one day when I told this story so many times, but where I was sitting at the subway station waiting for the A train. I was going to get lost on the A train that day. And a homeless man sat down next to me. And he looked at me and he just said, I don't know who you are, but you need to move here and you need to do it now. And we just looked at each other and I was covered in goosebumps. I didn't know who this guy was. I'd been in New York visiting for 2 weeks and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with this? What? And it's kind of the sign I was waiting for, looking for. I was like, God, give me a sign. And here comes this homeless man telling me to move to New York. And I remember the train rolling into the station and I got on the train and the doors were shutting and he did not get on. And between the glass, he mouthed the words, good luck. And that was the same day that I put my notice in at Disney over the phone, telling them for the first time that I was across the country. And within 2 weeks, I had sold all my furniture, got rid of my lease. I was back in California, finishing up my last days at Disney, and I was back in New York. And even though I hadn't booked a lot of work recently in California, I had seen a show called Motown on Broadway, and there was somebody, Deshaun Young, who had gone to my alma mater, Cal State Fullerton, who was in Motown. And I wrote him on Facebook, and I had no idea if he would see it or not before the show, but he did. He was like, "Oh my goodness, come backstage after the show. I just put your name on the list." And I was like, "What? I'm going backstage at a Broadway show? Are you kidding me?" And he showed me all around, and he was telling me about all the callbacks he was in, and he mentioned Beautiful. He was like, "You could actually be in that. You should ask your agents about that today." And he was like, "And over here's our wigs, and over here's where we hang out." And it was such a quick, fleeting moment. And before I even got on the train that night, I sent my agents a message saying, "Can you get me in for this? I don't know what the show is, but can you get me in for it?" And they said, "Probably not, but we'll see what we can do." And I saw the show the next day, and I loved it. It quickly became my favorite show on Broadway, and my agents did get me an audition for that 3 days later, and it went well. It went so well that I got a final call back that night for it, and I booked it. I booked it the first weekend that I had officially moved to New York City, and I'm not saying that to brag. I am saying that to say it is possible. You can have a million bad auditions. You don't have to even be the most talented person in the room. When I was at the callback, I had seen so many girls in that room on stage. They were currently running Broadway shows. And now I'm performing or auditioning next to them. And I was so out of my element, what am I doing here? And I could hear everyone's audition. They sounded fantastic. I'm like, what am I doing here? But for whatever reason, God had set that one apart for me. And I got it. I almost didn't even see the message because I had started a new job bussing tables. And, I was a hostess, but I was also bussing tables and cleaning. It was after midnight. I saw that my phone had blown up. I'm like, oh my goodness. My agents have been trying to get a hold of me for hours saying, "Can you go tomorrow? Can you go? You have a final call back." I'm like, what? And there I was. After the weekend, they were like, "We'll have more information for you on Monday. We'll know if you got it or not on Monday. We'll call you on Monday." And so that's what they did. And there I was in the shower on a Monday. I'd been waiting by the phone all day. Am I going to get a yes? Am I going to get the no? But I know they're going to call. And of course, as soon as I get in the shower and I'm covered in suds, I got the call. And they said, "How much do you hate working in a restaurant?" I said, "I really hate working in a restaurant." I was bad at it. They said, "Good, because you're going on tour." And that was the show. I went on tour, the first national tour. I mounted the first national tour of Beautiful, the Carole King musical. And I was in that show for about 2 years on the road. And that was the show that also became my Broadway debut. So you just never know. Right place, right time, one yes. That show was in my life for 5 years. That one first initial yes set me up for my life in New York. So I just want you to be encouraged today. If you have been facing rejection, or if you have had a million bad auditions in a row, or you've been working on something in your own project, or in your own life, or your entrepreneurial life, or your something that's a hobby that you're hoping to turn into more than a hobby, whatever that is for you, and maybe it's not been going well, I'm going to say keep at it, keep going at it, keep building that empire, keep inching your way towards your goal, because all it takes is one yes. But it starts with you saying yes to yourself. So that's all I got to say about that. thanks for tuning in for another episode of The Salisha Show. I'm your host, Salisha Thomas. This is the Gotham Network. I'm here at the Gotham Production Studios. Thank you for listening. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you're listening or watching this show. Tell a friend, share with a friend, stop by thesalishashow.com. Leave me a message on SpeakPipe. Let me know what you think. Follow us on The Salisha Show on Instagram, or you can follow me at Salisha Thomas on Instagram. And come along on the journey. This is so fun. It is a dream come true to build the show that I've always wanted to have on my own terms. So this show that you're listening to right now is a product of Disney hasn't found me, ABC hasn't found me, but I'm not going to sit around waiting to be discovered. I'm going to make the stuff that I want to make in the meantime. So be encouraged. And I'll see you next week on The Salisha Show. Bye.